Welcome to the 10-Minute Life Lesson Podcast. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I train people for improved personal and professional development, offering my assistance to those ready to develop their goals into tangible, focused, and achievable plans of action. And this podcast is one of the tools I use to accomplish my mission. Generally, when the timer hits 9 minutes and 59 seconds on this recording, you'll have a fully developed life lesson that you can take with you and begin to implement immediately. And if this week's lesson has a ring of familiar, then it's probably a reinforcement of a life change you've already started to implement. This podcast falls under the umbrella of my greater personal development efforts, all under the Your Better You brand. For more information on accountability coaching or to gain access to tools, tricks, and life hacks, visit yourbetteryou.info. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Now, here is this week's life lesson. This has been a very rough week. We've had a lot of things going on for the business that the people that in my business to help me out have been trying to work through. We had a lot of things going on in the day job, a lot of serious things going on to find out that we have a big upgrade coming in about a week, and we are so behind that it's amazing. Had some crazy things go on just in general life in general, and of course in the world of news. As this is being published, we've had a election cycle for a midterm election here in the United States where things went haywire as expected. We had a couple more weird killings and some police shootings as well. We've had a couple more just weird shootings that involve just crazy people firing up on people because they disagree with them. And we have the massive wildfires, which literally came out of nowhere about a week ago and are taking out plenty of homes, plenty of land out in California. We have people who should be trying to work this thing out, complaining about the people, blaming them for the wildfires. So in a week with all this crazy stuff going on, it's hard to talk up gratitude and being grateful for things. But two things happened within a span of the last 2 weeks to bring this up. Number one, about 2 weeks ago, my wife brought up a gratitude thing that she saw on Facebook or some social media thing that reminded her that she's supposed to be grateful for things. And at the moment, because I was a bit grumpy, I reminded her that I said the exact same thing every so often, and she doesn't seem to be all that grateful for it. That wasn't exactly the best route for keeping the marriage going, but I did what I could to mend those fences a few days later. Now, what happened this week, which was really phenomenal, was my current online crush, Eva Ursano, did something pretty amazing. She went on vacation from the third world to the first world, and she documented all the great things she got a chance to experience going back to the first world. Now, Eva's from Canada, so that's great in its own sense, but she's been living in Guatemala for about 3 years, and she lives in a very poor village from her explanation, doing a lot of just interesting things, which is why I started following her for her writing and just describing what's going on. She went AWOL for about a week or so because she went on vacation and did vacation stuff, not publishing for the world and people getting into her life. And then she talked about just the joys of just simple things that she did not have a chance to do, or in some cases didn't have to do while she was living in her life for the past 3 years. Number one was the simple fact that she could take a shower or a bath without worrying about being in infected water. And the same infected water was a big thing to deal with making a salad. She explained how she had to wash her salad, wash the lettuce and any vegetables more than a few times and disinfect them completely because there is parasites and things in the water in Guatemala, in the place where she lives. In Canada and in various other places, that's not the case. Most of Canada, I'm pretty sure, doesn't have to deal with disinfecting water when they want to take a shower. And she got a chance to take a shower and take a bath and do all those things, just simple things that we often take for granted. Now, the gratitude thing is something that I bring up fairly often, and it's something that I struggle with, to be honest, because there's always a lot of things going on. And sometimes it's a lot of things going on that aren't my fault that become my problem. And I am not very grateful for people who make their problems my problem. But I do need to be reminded every so often about being grateful for the things I have, and sometimes being grateful for the things I don't have and I'm struggling through, because struggling through something is a big deal. Somewhere down the line, I wrote a couple weeks ago some upcoming points for the Welcome to Your Monday messages and podcasts. And something that's going to come around, oddly enough, in about 2 years or so is a statement I used to say a lot before sort of the depressionish stuff started settling in. And it was basically anything you get a chance to live through is a story once you've lived through it. It's a story to tell. People want to hear how you got through that thing once you got through that thing. You just have to get through it first. And that's sort of the sad part about those types of things. People don't want to hear about it while you're in the middle of the depression, in the middle of the fight, in the middle of the battle, in the middle of losing what seems like everything you've had. But if you can get past it, you have a great story for someone to listen to when you really need people to listen to you while you're going through it. And that's just the oddity of humans being humans. We can't do much about that. But you do have to find ways to keep yourself going in those times, and gratitude, being grateful for the things you do have, and for sometimes you're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel where you may find a way out of that thing you're going through, is a serious thing to do. And it's very easy to do. You don't have to do any special ceremonies. You don't have to play yoga chants or anything like that. You just look at the world and speak out what you're grateful for. Now, it's always awesome if you want to go through the extra mile and journal it. And if you have your specific journal for gratitude things, grateful things, things that you are grateful for at certain days, that's a big plus. It's something you can go back to and review. But you don't have to do that much work. And this is me, the guy who says you should journal or at least log down what's going on. You don't have to do that much work. You just have to take a moment in that moment and decide that you're going to look for something you're grateful for. And sometimes in those moments, it's going to be hard to find things. And that's when you really need to do it. We really need to look forward to the things that are going for. Now, some things that I'm extremely grateful for is my family, or are my family, if based on the grammar way it goes to that. I'm extremely grateful for my daughter, who was a miracle in more ways than one, for sometimes her being so, let's say, shady. She's a little too smart for her own good at 6 years old, but I am grateful for the fact that she is who she is, and she will be something pretty great from what I can see right now. Although, honestly, right now is a bit frustrating. I'm grateful for her and what she should become. Grateful for my wife and all the things that she has done to support me in our life. And I'm grateful for the fact that she was able to get through her cancer battle last year. And while things aren't going so great on the side end of recovery, she's physically fine. She has some issues, some residing issues from going through some stuff. She is here. She's happy to be here, and she's doing her best to move forward. I'm grateful for the fact that I get a chance to stumble, bumble, and fail in my business pretty much every single day. There are all sorts of reminders of things I should have done, things I shouldn't be doing, and why things aren't working. But I get a chance every single day to show up, do a little better, and present more great things for you. And the feedback I get from you in the various things is awesome. I'd love more feedback. I'd love more payments, to be honest. But what I have right now is good enough to sustain me until I get to the next level. As I previously said, that struggle you're going through right now is a great story ready to be told as soon as you get through it. And trust me, I got a lot of stories to tell once I get through a couple extra struggles to add on to the stories I'm doing my best to tell right now. So I'm definitely grateful for the things I get to do. I'm sometimes grateful for the things I don't get to do because it's a lesson in my actual limits. But I'm mostly grateful for being here and being able to live where I'm living, do what I'm doing, and although I wish I could be doing more of some of it and less of other of it, grateful to have the chances I have here. Of course, extremely grateful for Eva Orsano for giving me a inspiration for the podcast because I was running a bit late and didn't have something in the queue, so I had to get something done. And being grateful is always a good topic, although it seems like it may be overdone. You never can have too many reminders to be grateful because there's always a reason for something to keep you from thinking you should be grateful for it. So thank you, Eva, for that. And thank you for just being a cool person. Thank you for listening to this podcast and listening to the 10-minute life lessons in the change. And just thank you for you guys being you. Keep on listening, keep on doing, keep on working, and keep on being. So this is the part where I'm officially supposed to say thank you for listening to the podcast. Ran a little short today, honestly. So you got your life lesson in your 10-minute, 9-minute lesson in about 8.5 minutes of actual content. So you can thank Eva for that as well, I guess, for all the gratitude stuff coming into that one. You can really thank her by checking out the things she has online. Where I read most of her stuff and see most of her stuff is on Medium. So I'm going to spell out her name, and you search her name out, and you'll find her. She has a blog as well. A lot of things get cross-promoted from there. And she has a Patreon, like many of us do. So if you want to become a patron and see some of the extra stuff she's doing and support her in some of the great things she's doing, you can do that. Eva is spelled I-V-A. There you go. Ursano is U-R-S-A-N-O. One more time, I-V-A-U-R-S-A-N-O. And look for her on Medium. Look for them online. Look for her for Patreon as a way to support her there as well, and just kind of do the internet thing. And I guess I can share my current internet crush with you guys out there, because she is out there crushing it in the way of the things she's doing, great things she's doing out there humanitarian wise in the world, in her little corner of the world in Guatemala. In the meantime, if I'm still pretty cool and you're still digging what I got going on here, remember, this is one of 2 podcasts we produce under Your Better You, and you can find all the information for that at yourbetteryou.info. We have the very, very quick Steps to Your Better You. That's 90 full seconds, and it's done. This one, the 10-minute life lesson, is a life lesson that's all said and done at the 10-minute mark. I know we're past that, but the lesson is done. Now I'm doing the salesy stuff. You can find out what sorts of things I can also sell you as a way of coaching and other things by going to the website, yourbetteryou.info. Email me at yourbetteryouinfo@gmail.com. There you go. Or check out my main page and main stuff, which is all under my name, jclevelandpayne.net and jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for the podcast and joining us and living through the iterations we've had for this one. It's amazing how many people stuck around, and that's something I'm really grateful for. People who stuck around from the initial start throughout the long 4-year hiatus, through the get-go there, and the switch over to the new version, new name, mostly same version, 10-minute life lessons. Thank you for being there. Always grateful for you and your feedback. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on episodes. You don't go looking for them. We're pretty much any place your pods are found. And, of course, be here next week. We're going to put together a gracefully and grateful for to be future casting there, a great episode of the 10-Minute Life Lesson Podcast.